The upheaval of recent times has been bewildering and unsettling. Our world is full of uncertainty, and it can be hard to know where to turn for trustworthy guidance. Could the Bible help make sense of life today? What if its ancient wisdom still held the key to human flourishing? Join me on a journey through the storyline of Scripture. We'll begin with our origins in Genesis and explore 6 major biblical events all the way through to our future destination. And on the way, we'll discover how relevant the Bible still is to our human needs for meaning and freedom, peace, love, community, and an ultimate home. In short, digestible chapters, we'll see how the whole Bible forms one coherent narrative that makes sense of our human story. And it's personal. Through guided readings and practical reflections, we'll learn how to apply this ancient wisdom to our everyday lives. Discover for yourself how the Bible can be a limitless source of guidance and hope.
Andrew Ollerton, it's great to be here with you to talk about your new book.
Thanks, Abby.
The Bible, a story that makes sense of life.
Yeah.
You haven't written the Bible, but you've written a book about it.
I think that one's done, so I just did this. Yeah, that's right. An accompanying guide.
Thank you. So let's start with why. Why did you write it and why now?
Well, a little quote on the back cover is a summary of why. When we make sense of the Bible makes sense of us. I just really felt like, that book needs to be written. Not just that we make sense of the Bible, which is really important. How do we navigate it? But then how does that become a mirror? Like, oh yeah, that's me. As I made sense of the Bible's made sense of me. I had a really interesting conversation with a guy on the touchline as our sons were playing football. And he just, he'd been listening to some podcasts, thinking about the Bible. And he just said, but what's it got to do with me? And I thought, just felt moved to do something about that. So This is my answer.
So how have you structured it then to help us make sense of the Bible?
Well, it's in 6 parts, and each of these parts track us through the Bible storyline, from origins, Genesis, through to hope, Revelation. But what I'm doing is trying to do with each part 2 things. Here's the episode of the Bible, origins and how did God get the world going and our human story. Exodus, how did Israel get delivered from Egypt and so forth. But then connect that experience in the Bible with our experience as humans. So it's origins and our human desire for meaning. And then, so how can we revisit our origin story and discover who we are?
Yeah. And
then Exodus, it's not just Israel that need freedom, we all need freedom. So how do we get free and live free in our lives? In that sense, I like to think the Bible is like Russian dolls, right? You can read Israel's story, and then inside it's like, that's my story, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done.
Okay, so there are loads of other books about the Bible out there. Why would somebody buy this one? What's your USP?
I think it's back to that thing of relevance, right? There's plenty of books that pick up on the reliability of the Bible. That's really important, but that's not what this is primarily trying to do. It's almost saying to people who say, well, so what if the Bible's true? Why would I bother with it? How's it going to make a difference in my life? So each of the mini chapters, it's actually broken into small chapters, ends with a little reflection and scripture reading, as if to say, don't just read this, kind of live it, and here's how you can. So I think people would buy it because they want to just not only own a Bible, they want to make sense of it and feel like I can live that now.
Yeah.
And so that's the USP. I suppose also one of the things I like to do is I like communicating kind of complex ideas simply, and I like bringing a bit of humour to that. I've tried anyway. Exactly. The jury's out, but a bit of humour, a lot of personal anecdotes. I talk quite honestly and personally. So I think that blend of depth of biblical thinking and quite surprisingly relevant and contemporary, well, I hope that gives it a USP.
Great. So going back to the guy at the touchline, is this book written for him, for a non-believer, or is it written for Christians, or is it for everybody?
Both, I'd like to say, because I think that's a reflection of the Bible. I think the Bible is simultaneously our best discipleship resource. It helps Christians grow in their relationship with God. I actually think it's our best mission resource as well. It's like so many people come on a journey through engaging with the Bible. So I've tried to reflect that here. This is absolutely for the guy on the touchline. In fact, I say in the introduction, you may not believe the Bible, but try it on for size. See if it fits and if it makes sense of you. So that's very much an offer to those who are outside looking in. But then, of course, all of us who are, if you like, a bit more inside in terms of faith, we all need help to make sense of the Bible. I mean, none of us know our way around Exodus and exile, and certainly know our way so well round that we can say that's exactly how it's relevant to me. So I think we'll find Christians will buy the book, they'll read it and think, gosh, I need to get another one of these for my mate, that I work with or down the pub, and it's discipleship and mission all at the same time, like the Bible itself.
Yeah, that's great. You have also written the Bible course. So is this a follow-on from the Bible course, or is this a separate thing completely? Is it for the same people that did the Bible course?
Is it Manchester United changing their shirts so you have to buy a new one?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that, well, let me use a metaphor. For some people, when it comes to a car, they want to lift the bonnet, look inside and see the mechanics, right? I think that's what the Bible course does particularly well, is it shows how the whole thing sort of fits together and makes sense and works. But other people say, forget what's under the bonnet, I just want to get in the car and go somewhere, and experience something. And I think that's what the book's trying to do. It's almost saying, the Bible course will show you how it fits together, and then the book will say, and let me take you on a journey, and we'll actually go somewhere with all of this. And therefore, I think it's both, really. I think if you've done the Bible course, you'll definitely want to read the book. It's really fresh and new content. If you haven't done the Bible course, probably I'd say start with the book, because it'll help you find your way into its relevance. And then you might think, well, now I do want to have a look under the bonnet now that you've taken me for a spin. Yeah. So that's the way it works.
Great. And you wrote some of this during lockdown, right?
Yes.
Has that affected how you wrote it, the content that's in there?
Yeah, it has. It was interesting. I was writing this chapter on community when the lockdown hit and we were told you must not socialise. So that was actually a really good experience, because that chapter's entitled Spirit and the Human Thirst for Community. And I realised when we are isolated from each other, we become thirsty, dehydrated socially and parched for that kind of, that human interaction that we're made for. Yeah. That really helped me write that chapter. And I think just generally COVID's shown us we're not in control of the world as much as we thought we were, and we need each other more than we realised we did. And so that definitely helped write that section. And it's an interesting sort of, half of the book is written BC, before coronavirus, and the other half afterwards, something similar to the Bible there, isn't there? But anyway, slight echo of it. But it really has shaped the book, and also now shaped how I've understood it to be relevant. You can't see these things coming, but I believe God's providential, and I just wonder whether this book is part of our response to why the Bible is still so relevant. Yeah.
And do you have a favourite bit of the Bible that you like writing about?
I really enjoyed writing the section. As I say, it's broken into mini chapters. Each mini chapter takes about 10 minutes to read. So there's a mini chapter on Daniel. I really enjoyed writing that, about how his experience of exile, living in a foreign, hostile culture, really speaks to our experience today. I really grappled with the chapter on the resurrection, because it's like, it's so profound, and yet how do you say anything that's not just obvious or almost banal and reducing it? So I that's the one I wrote and rewrote more than any other, and I'm really pleased with how that's ended up. But it was a journey for me. Great.
Well, it'll be a journey for us reading it as well, I'm sure. And lastly, what are your hopes for this book? What do you hope it will achieve for people?
Well, look, I hope the guy that I spoke to on the touchline, I'm going to give him a copy for free and see if he reads it. So I hope for someone who's just saying, what has the Bible got to do with me? I hope that this book finds its way into their hands and is part of their journey. And it is a journey. We're all on a journey with the Bible, and we're all grappling with questions, and some of those will remain unresolved, I'm sure. But nevertheless, I like to think that the book, I love mountain climbing, that comes through in the book, and I love guiding people to places they couldn't get on their own, or they wouldn't feel confident to go on their own, and then saying, now look at where you've come, you've kind of made it yourself. Now you can go on and explore from here. I hope that's what the book does for Christians and those who are seeking. It's almost like I can guide you to some places you may not have got on your own, but now you're ready to explore for yourself. And I think if we do that, people's confidence in the Bible and its relevance to their lives will increase. And that's what we need right now.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. It's been great to talk to you.
Thanks, Abby.